What's going on YouTube? Michael Alvarez with Highly Productive Logistics, and I'm back with another video. In this video, we're going to be talking about part 3 or step 3 of getting your truck on the road, and that is the 2290 Heavy Highway Vehicle Use Tax. Real quick, just a little bit about the tax. This tax is mostly for vehicles that weigh 55,000 pounds or more. Every person that files a tax will receive a Schedule 1 from the IRS. Schedule 1 it's basically a receipt showing that you completed the tax and what vehicle you paid the tax fee for. And very important that you keep this Schedule 1 in your truck or a photocopy of that Schedule 1. But make sure you have something that proves that you paid your 2290. Down here in the bottom, we have the official statement from the IRS instructions as to who should file the 2290. Just to read it off for you guys, you must file Form 2290 and Schedule 1 for the tax period beginning on July 1st, 2023 and ending on June 30th, 2024. If a taxable highway motor vehicle defined later is registered or required to be registered in your name, state, or in your name under State, District of Columbia, Canadian, or Mexican law at the time of its first use during the tax period, and the vehicle has a taxable gross weight of, as I said before, 55,000 pounds or more. So most semi trucks on the road, not even most, almost just about all of them have to have this 2290 form filled out as well as that Schedule 1. Without further ado, here is the actual 2290. This is the actual form you're going to have to fill out and send to the IRS. Now, I say that you will have to fill it out, but there are two ways to get it done. You can either do it online with an e-filing system, or you can do it in person. You print it out and you fill it out and you send it to the IRS yourself. Now, an e-filing website or system, they're all going to charge you for using their services. The amount they charge you varies depending on the system that you use. So I think Express Truck Tax maybe is like $20 or something, and uh, don't take my word for that. And I've seen other systems go for like $50, and they all do the same thing. They ask you the questions that they're gonna put on yours. Once you're ready, you would pay their fee as well as the actual tax fee, and they would send it over. Once the IRS accepts your 2290, you're gonna be given a Schedule 1, which we're gonna go over shortly, and then you would be good for that year. Let's just assume that the years are 2023 and 2024. Okay, so just for assumption's sake. So let's get into the actual tax. First, this top part, very self-explanatory. You would put your company name and your company information, your EIN, business address, and your company name. I'm not gonna go too deep into that because we've done plenty of that before. You guys, if you're starting your own company or if you're doing this for another person as a preparer, you know what goes there. This check if applicable boxes, address change, VIN correction, final return, and amended return. This is only if you are trying to do one of these things. If this is your first time filing the tax, which I assume many of you will be, then you don't have to click any of these or check any of these boxes. You would simply go down to the next one, figuring the tax. Now, before we get into this part, it's very important that you understand how the 2290 tax works. So the tax year, or I guess the fiscal year for 2290 tax, is from July to June. So if your vehicle touched the highways in July, you would pay $550. Now, please take into account that this is specifically for vehicles that are over 75,000 pounds. That's all we're going to be discussing today. So all semi trucks, whether you run reefer, drive-in, or flatbed, you are going to be considered a V category. And I'd say just always go for over 75,000 pounds. Even if you don't normally haul that type of weight, I would put that there just because if you ever decide to change that, it's going to save you a bunch of time and you're going to have to amend the return. And there's just a bunch of things you don't want to deal with. So always go for over 75,000 pounds. That way you can carry that if need be. And you don't have to worry about your tax weight limit being too little. Because if you get stopped and you said you only carry 67,000, it's going to be a problem with that DOT officer. So, like I said, before we go into this figuring out the tax, I want you to understand that the tax season or the tax year for the 2290 is from July to June. So, if your vehicle touches the highways on July, you're going to have to pay the full tax, $5,500 for the year, and it would renew within after a year, okay? And you would have to pay again. What you are looking at now is the partial period tax table. Now, at first glance, this is going to look a little bit complicated and might even scare you off. But trust me, I'm going to teach it to you so that you can not only do this for yourself, but you can also file this tax for other people and make some money doing that as well. And remember, we're doing this completely by hand. That way you don't have to pay a third-party website to handle the tax for you. If you follow my instructions, you will be able to get this tax filled out for free. And all you would have to pay is the actual tax itself. You won't have to pay a service. I do this for other people. I charge a service. I normally charge $80. If you can, no reason for you not to save yourself $80 or the $30, $40 that the online services charge. So back to the point. Partial period tax table. As I said, the tax runs from July all the way back to the beginning of July. So or June. Sorry. Let's say your truck hits the road in July. As I showed you guys before, you're gonna have to pay $550. Okay. Now that you got that, if your truck hits the road in August, okay, that's just 1 month after July, it's going to have to pay $504.17. Why? Because it's a prorated amount because you didn't get the month of July included in there, so you're going to pay less. Now, same thing from August all the way to June. If you look closely, you see that the numbers are going to go down because you're going to be using that tax for less months, if that makes sense. So in August, you're going to pay 504. In November, you're going to pay 366 because, like I said, the tax would begin in July. So if you pay in November, you are missing, let's do the math, July, August, September, October, 4 months of potential tax time. So it doesn't make sense for you to pay that $550 for the year if you're already missed out on 4 months of tax time. That's why they prorate it and they kind of take some off of what you have to pay. Now, if you pay in June, very, very important. If you pay in June, let's say your truck hits the road in June, your deadline, you would have to pay immediately around either June or hopefully before July. But let's say you paid immediately when you submit the 2290. So your truck hit the road in June. You're going to have to pay 45.83. No, you are not saving money when you do that. The reason is that yes, you're paying 45.83 for the month of June. You're only paying that for the month of June. Okay? Come July, you're going to have to pay that 550 because it's a new tax year, a new tax fiscal year. So you're going to pay that 45.83 plus that $550. Basically back to back. So don't think that you're saving money doing that. No, they're going to get you. This is the IRS we're talking about. They don't play around. So you're not saving money by just paying that 45.83. You're going to have to pay that 550 come July, come the next month, because your tax would be expired once July hits. So If you would like to figure out how to use this table, once again, V. We're only talking about flatbeds, semi trucks, whether you haul flatbed, reefer, or dry van. That's all we're talking about. Over 75,000 pounds is what V represents. So let's say your vehicle hits the road in January. Okay, you got your vehicle in November, and your MC and everything good to go. You're planning everything right here in December, planning where you're gonna hit it. You're gonna hit the road in January. That's your goal. You would fill out the 2290 and you would pay only $275. Once you pay that $275, you are good until July. Once July comes, you have to repay for that $550 to have it for the entire year. And then ideally, you would have it for the entire year. You would continue doing that on a yearly basis, 550 for the entire year. This is all just for one truck. Please take into account this is all for one truck. These numbers you would multiply by the number of trucks that you have. So if our truck hit the road in October, we're paying 412. If we hit the road in June, 45.83. That's what we will put on the check or on the money order when we send it to the IRS. Now that that's done, there's one more thing I want to talk to you about on this information page. You can also find this page on the IRS's website. This is an official IRS document. I'd like you guys to take a look at how to pay the tax. There are four methods to pay the tax. You can either do electronic funds withdrawal, debit, direct debit if you're filing electronically, which is, like I said, through a third party person website. You got the EFTPS. If you plan to use that, you have to authorize the direct deposit to make your payment. You can look at the information down here on the IRS website. You can also use check or debit card, and or you can use check or money order using the payment voucher that's attached to your 2290. Whole thing has to be paid in full. There's no way around it. There's no payment plans for this stuff. Has to be paid in full. Now that we understand how to calculate our amount, let's figure out the tax. So, boom. Was the vehicle reported on the return used on public highways during July? That says 2021, but let's assume it says 2023. Yes, we're going to put our vehicle on the road in July 2023. We're trying, let's say we started our company in May. June, we're doing everything. Our MC first got activated in June, and we plan on throwing our truck out on the road in July. Okay, so if yes, you would put that number code 202107. Good. Tax. Enter the total from Form 2290, page 2. As you guys can see, I'm just going to show you once more. Vehicles used during July. This is the annual tax. So for the entire year, a vehicle over 75,000 pounds is going to cost you $550. So we would put that number here, 550, already done. Additional tax from increase in taxable gross weight. Like I said earlier, they're going to get you. It's the IRS. So if you that's why I recommend you putting 75,000 pounds, because eventually, even if you put 60,000 and you start scaling heavier, you're gonna have to report that. They're gonna get you. They're gonna get you somehow. So just be safe. Put that 75 over 75,000 pounds, and you won't have to worry about it again. Total tax, this is just this plus that 550, because we're going for over 75,000 pounds. That's the max. Credits, no credits. You can see the attached documentation, but most people won't qualify for credits. And then your balance due, this is what you're going to have to pay. We are going to elect to pay via credit card. This part 2, you can elect to pay however you want. Part 2, statement in support of suspension. This I would hope that none of you guys have to deal with this. Because that would mean you guys have a suspended vehicle or something. If you've had a suspended vehicle, you would handle this. If not, then you would just ignore this. Now, most of you guys don't have suspended vehicles, and most of the people I've worked with, who I've done these forms for, don't have a suspended vehicle. So we can just skip this. Let's just assume it doesn't apply. If it does, pretty simple. I declare that vehicles reported on Schedule 1 as suspended or expected to be on highways. You would just put what you think. If it's 5,000 miles or less, or 75 miles or less for agricultural reasons. And then you would just fill out this, put your VIN and all that. Third party designee. This is if you want people to be able to discuss your return with the IRS. Let's say you have a CPA or an enrolled agent, accountant, tax accountant. They will be able to speak with the IRS regarding your return. If you don't, skip that. Or be sure to put no. As for sign here, pretty simple. Once you print it out, you would sign it. Not something you have to worry about if you're filing online with a third party. It would just be like a click here to sign or something like that. Paid preparer use only. This is what I do a lot. So when I do a return for somebody else, this is where I would kind of stamp my name, put my name, signature, my PTIN, EIN, business name, business address, and phone number. This is if you're doing it for somebody and they are paying you to get it done for them. So if you guys do decide you want to be in the compliance world or maybe even accounting, you would be filling this out a lot. Tax computation. Now that we filled out that first page, we have to fill out page 2. Now, remember, like I said earlier, our vehicle hit the road in July, or is gonna hit the road in July. We have over 75,000 pounds, and we are in category V because of that. So this is very simple. You would just fill this out. Doesn't take too much common sense for this one. 550, because that's what we have here. That is our number. Vehicles except logging. How many vehicles do we have for that? 1. Very important, you also put the 550 under vehicles except logging because we're not hauling wood, okay? So we have 1 vehicle that doesn't log. 1 general freight vehicle. Let's say it's a reefer. We put 1. And here goes the total, 550. And you'll just move that 550 down there as well. Here we have your Schedule 1. This is probably the most important document regarding the 2290 because this is going to act as your receipt once you pay the tax, and it's going to be your proof that you filed the tax. So real quick, I want you to take notice that there are 2 Schedule 1s on the IRS 2290 form. Reason is intentional, actually. So they didn't make a mistake. They put 2 because they want you to submit 2 of the same form. So you're going to put the same information, name, address, employer identification number, EIN, all your business information, put the month and the year and the month you use, or you first use your truck on the road, and your category, which is V, and then your VINs. We're only assuming we have 1 vehicle, 1 owner operator, right? The reason they want you to do 2, the reason they put 2 is because they want you to do 2, and the reason that they want you to do 2 is because 1 is going to stay with them, and 1 is going to be mailed back to you once they approve it, and possibly stamped or signed or whatever they do, and it would be used as your receipt, so that you would keep in your truck at all times, or a picture of it at the very least. You would keep it in your truck, and if you ever got stopped, they ask for your 2290, show them that, and you're good to go. Okay? So very important, you fill out both. I've heard from an agent of the IRS that this is one of the biggest reasons that these do not get filed. So they'll get sent back because you only do 1. And remember, this is only if you're filing by hand. So if you only do 1, they're going to send it back because you're supposed to get both done. Okay? Yeah, if the IRS agent's having a good day, maybe he'll just print you out another one. But if he's having a bad day, he can always just send it back to you, and now you have to redo it and wait on top of that. And we don't want to waste time. So just get both done, same information on both, and then submit that as well. Put that in the folder and send it. Down here, total number of reported vehicles, we have 1 owner operator. Total number of taxable vehicles on which the tax is suspended, 0. We don't deal with that. Our tax is not suspended. Category W, we are not category W. Total number of taxable vehicles, just the 1. As for This is the same thing, Schedule 1. You would literally just copy the information you put on the last one. Everything's the same. Here we have the consent to disclose tax information. This is just, can the IRS speak to the DOT, DMV, and other agencies about your tax information? No reason not to. They're speaking within themselves. Let them have that. Whatever they want to do, let them have that. You would sign, print, and put your EIN and your date. This is a fake EIN, so I don't think you guys got one above me. And then we have the final thing, the payment voucher. So depending on how you want to pay, I already spoke about the payment earlier. So depending how you want to pay, you would use this payment voucher. If you plan on paying through check or money order, you would cut this out, fill this out with the information, your information, and how much you're paying right here. So right here would be 00. Ooh, that's not 00. 500, and then you would put your name, boom. Yeah, let's put 123 road. All this stuff, boom. 123 trucking, and you would fill this out, and you at the end you would put everything, the 2290. Let's just go over it one more time. You would put everything from 2290 to your tax computation, to one copy of Schedule 1, your second copy of your Schedule 1 filled out, your consent to disclose tax information, and your payment voucher. You would put them all in one folder or one envelope, and you would send it to this address here. Once that's sent, it's going to take a couple days for processing, and the IRS would hopefully accept it, and they would send you back your Schedule 1 stamped and good to go, and you would just put that in your truck. Now, this whole process it seems like a lot, but you can honestly get this done in like 15 minutes. All right, it's not that bad. 15 minutes is what it takes me to get it done, and I get paid $80 a filing for it. So, if you do decide to pay someone else or go online and do it, same thing. 15 minutes and you can get it done. So there's no reason to stress over your 2290. You will be good. Just follow this video, and if you want, pause it at certain parts and just do it step by step. No reason not to. And that is all for 2290. If you guys take a look at the FMCSA application timeline that I made, you will see that next video is going to be regarding the DOT pin. This is probably one of, if not the most important numbers you will get. So definitely stay tuned for that video. Hope you guys have a great day.